How's everyone doing today? I know William and I are chilly. Illinois, we got snow. We're at like -14. That's the actual temperature today, not feels like, so it's a little colder on the old hands. And William, what are we up to right now?
Check on sheep.
So this year, William has taken on the task of tending to the sheep. So he became a shepherd by proxy this year. So he's been coming back and forth and checking on the sheep this year. We have the Katahdin Hair Sheep that many of you have seen before. We are in the middle of lambing season. These silly animals, I don't get it. So the ram has access to them year-round. They really could do the breeding cycle whenever they want to. But every year for the last 4 years consecutive, we have baby lambs born December, January, February. It's not very conducive for staying warm, to say the least. So we're going out to check on the sheep, and we are checking on other issues. We have issues this year with some of our temporary fencing because cold, ice, and snow don't go together very well with keeping those things going. Anyone who does homesteading and farming knows that winter and water don't go together very well. So the plight of keeping water unfrozen for the animals. The reason it works so well for us to have the sheep out back is they have a north-facing protection, actually it's south-facing with north protection from the wind. They have a constant source of water back there, and we are able to stage our food back there, the hay, for them. And here, perfect example. Temporary fence is intact, and it's crushed by the snow. So, thankfully, the perimeter fence is working well. So that's one of the tasks for this spring and summer, is to get our fencing a little more, I guess, robust to weather these times. And yeah, so let's go check on the sheep. Mama's calling for you. Got my Dickies on, my LL Bean pack boots. We are staying warm out here today. So we've got the sheep back here. They have their south-facing hut back here that they all like to huddle up into. We have about 20 of the breeding ewes back here, and then a couple rams. We have one main ram and then a couple left over from last year that we're going to butcher out still. And they all huddle up in there when they get cold or when they want wind block. But really, for the most part, they tuck over here. We have some woods that they can tuck back into as well. And then up the hill over here, if you keep going around, we've got the hay bales that are all staged up there that they have access to. So it works out well. We've got water that runs 24/7 back here at the creek area. And then we've also got the spring on the property as well. So let's go check on these little ones and see how they're doing. We've got the flock up here. We're gonna try not to frustrate them too much. But we've got some young ones over here. We've got some brown ones here. We've got a couple white ones, all white ones. We got some mixed colored ones here. We have a giant llama. I wouldn't be shocked if she didn't have triplets in there even.
Look at the lamb, he's up on a hay bale.
Yeah, a little one up on a hay bale there. So they are super hardy. So what we found is that the ones who come out and who are healthy and strong, they just do really well. The mamas do really well at feeding them and caring for them. We've got a whole mixture of them right there. We got brown one. Oh, we got another all black one.
And this year, this is the first time that we had black ones.
Okay. Oh, it's got a little white tail on there. A little tip of the tail. So, yeah. So that's a mix of the sheep right there. We've got some that are doing really well. William comes out here and just checks on the area. We have a little wind block that stays in place here. But really, this is the old way of doing these lean-tos. It's got a big overhang up here to shed the water. It's south facing to let the sun come in and get it nice and warmed up. We throw some straw bales up in front of it here to create just a little bit of wind block, but you don't want to put too much stuff too high in front of there because that's also what's building up the heat in there. So it's really a matter of keeping that wind protected from the north wind, and keeping the animals nice and dry and just a place to tuck into. So William comes out here every day, a couple times a day, checks on the babies to see how they're doing, checks on the mamas, and he's learned how to identify when they are ready to start giving birth and checking up on them and all those good things. So it looks like a nice sunny day out here, but I tell you, it is cold. And like I said, they just do so well. They all have tons of food. Their body condition looks really good. All the mamas here, we're looking at their body condition as far as overall size. You look for their rib cages, you look for the rumple on their back there. They're all looking really well fed, staying really good condition here through the nursing time. All these little ones will start eating hay and chewing on solids here at about 4 weeks old. And at that 4 to 5 weeks old, they'll start eating more hay. And then they'll continue to eat off of their moms for quite some time, because we do keep them with them. We don't separate them off. So we like to keep the flock together. Something we were going to be a little bit more diligent about this year is we are going to go ahead and band the males, the baby rams, to get them just a little bit easier to handle when they're older and to process them. Anyhow, that's the Katahdin Hair Sheep right there. Super hardy. We've been really happy with them. We originally got 12 lambs in the beginning, or sheep in the beginning. We had an intact breeding flock that we bought, that we ended up purchasing from a person that had to get rid of them. So we got one ram with the females, and we've had a mixture of how many we carry on site here over the years. But I think that we're happy right around that 20 on the property here. I don't know that we go with many more than that currently. Now, if we get the rotational grazing in place a little bit more efficiently this year, we could carry some more. But overall, there's William. He's putting down some fresh bedding. So we just keep that piling up and getting thick in there so that they have a nice fluffy area to go dry off on and to lay down. The babies, it's funny, the mamas and the adults give kind of a little bit of preference to the babies to tuck into there and get warmed up, and they do really well. So
Definitely warmer.
it is warmer in the sun. You can see why the animals like to hang out here. All right, so real quick, William, what are some of the things that you enjoy about taking care of the sheep and the lambs?
Is that they're kind of easy.
They're easy?
They're easy.
Okay. What makes them?
Except they escape.
They escape? Well, they don't escape very often. They escape a lot less than we hear goats escape, right? So when you come out to check on them, what are you looking for?
Mostly just the lambs, and make sure that they have water to drink.
Make sure they have access to their water fine.
And the hay.
Make sure that the hay is good, right? Make sure that they have plenty of hay sitting there. Do we have lambs that die once in a while, so we do have loss on the farm, like anyone.
Yeah, it's cold, so.
It's cold, but we've also learned that the ones who die early or quick maybe have some weaker genetics as well. Oh, here comes the screen. We just got photobombed by the goat. So that's part of farming, right? We've lost animals. We've had to put animals down before, and it's part of taking care of the animals. So you've learned some animal husbandry as far as making sure you can tell like when a mom's going to deliver.
Yeah.
And how do you tell that?
They're slower, and
they get slower.
When they're in the barn.
Okay.
They're laying down.
Okay. What about the things that you notice on them? What do you notice on them when they start to get ready to deliver?
They're bagged out.
So their udder starts to get swollen and bagged out, so they're ready to produce milk for the baby. So these are all things. How old are you?
11.
11.
Yeah, 11.
All right, so William started helping with the sheep 4 years ago. This year, like I said, he's really stepped up. He's pretty much exclusively taking care of them. I've been out here a few times this year, but overall, he's come out and he's done the daily checks on them. He's made reports of when there's different ones that are doing well and different ones that are having some issues. So he's really started to develop a knack or a keen eye for checking on the overall quality and condition of the flock out here. So I would say that they're probably not super lucrative for us as far as making a lot of money off of them.
Well, I mean,
We get meat off of them, we get some meat off of them. We do sell some for some meat to some local friends and family.
And in the summertime, they're kind of the mowers.
Yeah,
for the field.
Okay, so they help out with some mowing. And they are 100% grass fed. So we do 100% grass fed as far as they either get hay or they get the pasture grass. We have 14 acres of property out here. They have access to, I don't know, all but like 13, or I'm sorry, all but 3 acres of it. So they have the most access to the property of all of the animals. Well, the dogs get around too. But it's not ideal. This is something we've had people ask us before as well. What about a barn, or how do you take care of the sheep in the wintertime, or what kind of infrastructure do I need for them? And with the right type of sheep, I would say that in a lot of ways, less is more. When you have a barn that you have to muck out, you deal with a whole bunch of other issues, and this is something to be talked about, is if you're mucking out a barn in the wintertime, man, it is a lot warmer here.
Yeah, it is. I can feel the heat.
I feel like this is comfortable right here. I can see why they all hang out here.
I can take the gloves.
Yeah, I mean, my hands are off and I'm warm. So overall, when you have a barn, you have to worry about mucking it out. You have to worry about sanitizing it, cleaning it at times. You have to worry about getting the water to the animals. Whereas I'm not going to say we've taken a hands-off approach, because it's anything but that. We're out here quite often, so our hands are kind of on them more often.
Yeah.
But I would say that the amount of time that we spend caring for them it's kind of switched out. We're not like operating machines. We're not using chemicals. The Katahdin Hair Sheep are known for being fairly tolerant to easy, hardy, right?
Yeah.
So they're good mothers. They give birth to twins often. They care for the young very well when everything's going well. And once again, we've learned that there are some who don't make it, but really, genetically speaking, those are the ones that you don't want hanging around very long, because they just don't do well for the flock overall for the long term.
Lammy.
We got one little lamb that's curious over here sneaking up on us. So the Katahdin Hair Sheep are they're really cold hardy. They're really tolerant against worm loads, so they're resistant to parasites and worms. And one of the things that keeps them a little more resistant to those, hey Murphy, is the fact, I'm going to try to get a shot of this real quick here. This is Murph. He's stepping over and he's checking on his lambs. He's like, what are you guys doing back here?
All the lambs are chewing on the...
So you can see how he's out here with the lambs, hanging out, checking out on them. All the babies. And so that's Livestock Guardian Dog right there. He's checking out his flock. He's seeing how everyone's doing. And he's a good boy. So they are, we don't deworm them unless we absolutely have to. They're, like I said, 100% grass fed. And our input into them is fairly low. We do provide hay for in the winter, obviously, because they need that. Our flock has increased. At one point in time, we were up to, I think we had
a good amount.
we probably had 40 of them on property here at one point in time.
Too many.
Yeah, a few too many, but we learned from that. And now we've got like that 20 females, the breeding ewes, the one main ram. I'll try to get a shot of him over here too, because he's taking front and center here. He's looking at the dog going, I trust you, but I don't, because you're a dog. And so we keep the main ram with them. And let me know what you guys do. If you guys have sheep out there, you guys do lambs, do you guys keep the rams separate? Or do you keep them just with access to them year round? We've talked about trying to separate him off, but then once again, you're stuck trying to figure out where you're going to keep him, how you're going to keep him separate,
And if
keeping him separate. And then if he gets out, then you hear kind of things get out of cycle and off track anyhow. So we just keep, right now the flock stays intact as a whole, and they do really well. So we're really happy with the Katahdin Hair Sheep. Some of the other sheep that are in the same class as a hair sheep, if you don't know about them, are Katahdin Hair Sheep, St. Croix, Dorper, Royal Whites. There's a whole bunch of them in that class. So the hair sheep, we don't have to worry about shearing them. And they're not for a wool quality. They're for the mowers. Yeah. They mow the field,
hair.
and they shed their hair kind of like a dog twice a year, and so they don't have much of a wool value to them at all. So yeah, there's a couple things about the sheep. I know that's a lot of information there. We're really happy with them. They're fairly easy. I know that we've discussed with people. They've asked, well, why don't you have goats, or what's the difference between them? Honestly. The old saying we go back to is there's a reason the good word talks about the difference between a sheep and a goat. Goats are escape artists. They don't want to put up with the rules very well. They kind of eat almost too much of everything. They're not really resilient to living sometimes, and they're just generally kind of, I don't know, stupid. No. In our opinion, that's. Sorry for you goat people out there.
Rather have sheep than goats.
But we like the sheep. They're a little less likely to want to get out. They're a lot more agreeable, it seems like. They do help with management of the property as far as eating back some of the weeds and the invasive species of the plants. But overall, we're really happy with them. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more info of why we selected to go with the Katahdin Hair Sheep. They are 100% grass-fed, quote-unquote all natural product that we can get from converting green pasture grass into good old American red meat. So Alright, so real quick, we'll walk you back here to one of their other water sources. In the other videos you guys have seen, we've got a spring on our property that we developed to keep it kind of less animals getting in the way of it and kind of getting mucked up. And so they have access to this spring that flows water 24/7 year-round, right down here. That spring, we did the math on it, and at the flow rate that it continues at, it flows like 1.8 million gallons of water a year. So we have it coming out of that pipe. We covered it up, we put some plastic over it, we put some soil over it, and that way it's not getting feces and manure and all that stuff in there. It's a lot more protected from the animals. They have a clean source to come to and drink from. We don't have to worry about bringing water out to a whole flock of sheep, and they have fresh, clean water 24/7. So this has been a nice little thing. I'm glad that we did the modification to it when we did. We did that 2 years ago now, and it's worked out well. It's very basic, and it's been a water supply that we have here for them that's clean. So that is a good thing. They have access to this. A lot of them come down here and drink from here. There's a well-worn path back to it here. And then they also go up to the main water source of the creek up here, and they drink out of there as well. So having fresh water on the property, flowing water on the property for the sheep is a huge asset. So super thankful of that as well. So